Alright, Chapter 2 for the new Sharndar mod has been released. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Well, not the actual mod, since I don't have it unlocked. But what we can do is look at the gear, which a lot of people don't show the gear. So that's what I'm going to do here. So, where would the gear be? And there is Sharndar. Alright, so there was new companion gear and rings. So we'll just take a look at that. So here are the rings so far. These are all 1500 item level, with each one of them are legendary, probably have a combined rating of 1200. Yep, and majority of them are there's a single stat and double stat rings. Most of them are double offensive, I see, and a few defensive rings as well, probably. Yep, here they are. All right, so let's just get to looking at the rings. So this is the ranged ring. Obviously, this would be best in slot if, well, accuracy is kind of important still. So, yep, here's the range rings for any type of ranger or warlock, any class that has range abilities. Here's the undead ring, I guess. This wood ring wouldn't be good. It'll probably be one of those really super cheap rings like usual. Here's the there's a critical severity ring with 5% power and 2.5% accuracy. That is pretty good. If you can run one of those, or if you can run two, that's 10% power and 2.5% accuracy. That's 5% accuracy as well. That'll give you a lot of options. You can work and play around with a lot of classes, races, and then a lot of other things that you can like just tweak around, and really ease it out, then you'll be okay. And this would also really be good for healers. Healers do need crit severity and a bunch of power, so this ring would be better than if you already have 90% crit or any type of percent bonus ring that you don't need. This would be your go-to. You would, and also this would allow you to take off a bunch of things you definitely don't need as a healer, like power proc gear. You probably don't need that anymore. You can slot these in and run something else. Yeah, so far these rings are looking kind of nice. Next ring is Disguise Peaking Light, which is critical severity and accuracy. This is, and honestly, it's a bad ring. I mean, I get that accuracy is a thing, but it's not as important as your other four stats. It's important, don't get me wrong, but it's not just as important. So this ring will be one of those cheap rings as well, probably. But in all actuality, if you can cap all four stats and you don't want percent damage bonus, you can run this as well. This would also increase your accuracy, which would also decrease the deflection severity that the mobs will have against you, which allows you to do a little bit more damage as well still. Next is the combat advantage and crit severity ring. Okay, so this is just a bad ring in general. I mean, I get the stats are great, but the equip bonus for it is completely terrible. This would be a decent PvP ring maybe. If not, yeah, I think this needs to be either tweaked or changed. Next is the Sky's Crowning Jewel, which this is a crit severity and critical strike. When you kill an enemy, your forte is increased by 550 for 10 seconds, max stack of 10 seconds. Yeah, I wouldn't see myself or any. I mean, this could be. It could be a healer ring. No, it can't be, because you're not. No. Yeah, I don't see this ring being good at all. I mean, if you want it, you can get it. It's probably not going to be that great. This will probably be one of those rings that are just like. Just to be slotted in for item level during that period of time. Yo, there's a ring in here that looks so fucking beautiful, and I definitely want two of them just to have them. Next ring is the Living Silver Vine ring. This gives you accuracy and combat advantage. When you stand still for 6 seconds, your control bonus is increased by 10%, and your crit severity is increased by 5% for 6 seconds. My problem with this is it sounds like a PvP ring, but at the same time, it would be like for healing PvPers and not in PvE. One, because not a lot of the bosses nowadays, I mean, they do control effects, but they don't like stick you in the air and like start chokeholding you or something like that. Like I could see this happening in IC, but in reality, it's control bonus, and then most of the times nowadays, lower content's easy to be healed through. So I don't see this ring at all being good for anything but maybe a tank healer and that wants to hold a node in PvP. That's really it. Next ring is the Living Silver Leaves, which is the defense and combat advantage. This is a double defensive ring. When you're in combat with only one enemy, your awareness is increased by 5% and combat advantage by 2.5%. Yo, these two rings would be amazing for any tank on any boss fight. That's 10% awareness if they stack. If they don't stack, then boohoo. But if they stack, these are best in slot, dude. Hands down, by far, the best rings. I get the stats are useless, but you're basically getting almost two mythic companions. Well, two legendary companions, basically. If it was a single stat companion, it would be two legendary single stat companions. And these are two rings, so that means you can also replace your companions that are in your slot if you're not already at 90% awareness on your tank. And you can slot these in. Well, if you already are, sorry. If you're already 90% awareness on your tank, you can slot these in and remove 3 companions, because I know each companion gives you, well, 2 companions, because I know each companion gives you 3.8%. I don't know a single stat awareness companion. So this right here would be amazing for tanks, especially when you're doing trial bosses. Yo, that's a good ring right there. Next ring is my bad. So next ring we have the Living Silver Fern. This is a single stat combat advantage piece, but it gives you Manticore's main bite. This also is like the ring. I mean, the ring from Tower of the Mad Mage or Zariel that you can get, the leather ring. This is also like the Manticore's main, which you get from Cholt and Nomu. But in reality, this ring wouldn't be good to slot in as a tank at all. Pure reason why is because the stats. You really don't need combat advantage as a tank. In reality, to hold aggro, if you want, you can get it, but this wouldn't benefit you at all as a tank. I get that the Manticore main bite is pretty good, but and maybe in PvP this will be good as well, just because it does give you 4.5k combat advantage, and obviously combat advantage is important. Rogues can use combat advantage. They can probably use Shocking Execution with Manticore's main bite, and it'll proc magnificently and do a shit ton of damage. But other than that, I don't see it doing any damage. And I know I just spoke really, really, really fast, and I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to. Next is the Silver Bloom. This is, oh my god. This is 4.5k critical strike, and your forte is increased by 5% when you are moving. So, this ring is only good for healers. Reason why I say this: one is critical strike. You need critical strike as a healer. It's really hard to cap crit, but you can do it pretty. I mean, it's not hard, honestly. If you have the resources to do it, you can cap critical strike as a healer. It's really simple. I mean, it's not that hard. But this right here gives you 5% forte, which in all honesty, this helps you with, if you're just a moving healer, like you love to move around, you don't like to stand still, and also you can just twiddle around left and right and just pretend like you make small movements. In reality, you're getting 10% extra forte, which gives you, as a healer, Soul Weave regen, Divinity regen, and all that type of stuff. So that's 10%. You know, that's going to add on to all of your forte stats as well, which is your critical strike as well. For a warlock, I know warlocks get critical strike on their forte. I know they get Soul Weave regen. I know clerics get divinity regeneration, and I know paladins get divinity regeneration. So you can run this and just move around, and you always get that 10% forte, which also increases all of your stats that you need as a healer. So this is a great ring for healers. Next, the Queen's Golden Sky Ring. Critical strike and accuracy. When in combat with only one enemy, your power is increased by 5% and critical severity by 2.5%. So let's just speak here. This ring wouldn't be good at all. It's decent, but it wouldn't be as good as other rings. Here's one, because one, it's super easy to cap power. I mean, I know a lot of people say it's not. I don't know why, but it really is. I don't know why people try to cap power unbuffed. I mean, it's a great thing to do, and obviously, if you can do it, you can. But you're sacrificing so much for something so little. And in all honesty, I would rather have 3% damage than 5% power and 2.5% critical severity. This ring would only be good for people who don't and can't cap power and critical severity. But oh, but it's only good if you're in a trial boss, and they're way better rings than this ring. So I'm gonna let you guys know now that it's an alright ring. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it would be my go-to choice. Next ring, which is my favorite looking ring for some reason. I love the way it looks. It looks like the guiding ring of the sage or the sharpshooter, and it's also that like sparkly color. Oh my god, it's the melee ring too. Oh, my fighter's about to have a splendid time. So this is the Queen's Golden Opal ring. This is critical strike and combat advantage. Oh my god, this ring is amazing. This right here, best in slot for every melee DPS, hands down. It gives you 2 stats that you need, and it gives you Swordman's perk. Best in slot, right there. Right then and there. There's no drawbacks for this. This is the best in slot ring, and I can already tell you now, everybody's gonna be running this. So let's just go ahead and say that. If you are a rogue, a fighter, a ranger that's doing melee stance, and you just want to switch to this, let's see what else. If you're a barbarian, dude, best ring right here, and it's such an easy ring to get. And all honestly, Vault of Stars takes like literally like 30 minutes if you got a good group, so you can easily run this. Next ring is the Defense and Critical Strike ring. This is a double offensive ring. Which, this is a weird ring. It's 10% damage against constructs. And the only place that would be good in is LOM. And I think this would... I don't know if the last boss is a construct. But I know that the Scorpions is a construct, and so are the Golems there, I think. I could be wrong, but I'm 99.9% sure that I'm correct. Next ring is the Defense ring. When hit by a foe, you gain 550 awareness for 4 seconds. This effect can stack up to 10 times. So this is basically when you get beat up. 4,500 defense. It's alright. 5.5k awareness basically if you get hit 10 times. But this only lasts for 4 seconds, so it depends on how fast the boss hits you. Or if you're getting hit by mobs, then yes. But for single target, to even until now, where's that other ring? I would prefer to run. Where's that ring at? Where's this ring? Did I lose it already? Or am I slow? Oh yeah, this ring. I would prefer to run this ring, honestly, because I get it. I get that it gives you the combat advantage. Don't get me wrong. I get that it gives you the combat advantage, and you're a tank, and you don't need the combat advantage. But please keep in mind that if your defense is already capped, you don't need that ring. So, yeah. But the equip bonus on it is really great. But I only say this only during maybe mobbing will you have the full 10 stacks. I know eventually you'll run out, especially if you're switching aggro on bosses, especially in a trial. So in a trial, you won't always have the maximum benefit of this, just because of the sheer fact that you are in that bosses do take forever to hit you sometimes, and usually they phase or they do something else where they attack your other group members, and then you won't be able to use your you'll lose basically stacks of this. So in theory, where's this ring at again? In theory, this ring right here is giving you a better uptime than this ring would, just in situations. But this ring is just as good as this ring. So these two rings, best in slot, for any support tank, or sorry, any tank. I said support because tanks are supports. These two rings, best in slot for both tanks. But also keep in mind here is what I'm trying to say is if you already have if you already have 90% defense, this ring will be pointless to you. You would preferably want your stats to go somewhere else, which obviously, and if you have more combat advantage, you'll obviously have better aggro chance. And if you have more awareness, which honestly 5.5k awareness is, in theory, if you're at 55k item level and you gain 5.5k awareness, that's basically 5.5%. Or 5%, one or the other. So it's a good ring. It's this and the silver leaves are the two best in slot rings for tanks so far. And this ring are the two best in slot rings for both ranged and melee DPS. Right, next ring is the the Grow Gentle Breeze. This gives you 4.5k incoming healing, which is basically 4.5% if your base item level is 50k item level. Well, no. If your base item level was 45k item level, this would be 4.5%. If it was 50k item level, this would be probably 4.2, 4.1%. I don't know why I said that. This would be 4.5%. I'm slow. It's 4.5%. Next ring is the Outgoing Healing. This is an actual really good ring. When you have a shielded temperature, your critical strike is increased by 5%. We're not talking about the equip bonus, we're just talking about the statistical bonus. It's basically giving you 4.5% outgoing healing. You guys do remember that percent stats, you gain a percent every 1k stat, so it's 4.5% outgoing healing. Yeah, if you're a cleric or a pally or a soul weave warlock, and you don't need power, crit strike, and forte, put this in right here, baby. More outgoing healing, the stronger you are. Keep it going. Next and final ring is the Fallen Lord's Tact. This gives you 4.5% critical avoidance. Every second you gain 5% deflect for 10 seconds. So basically 4.5% critical avoidance and 5% deflect for 10 seconds every 30 seconds. So basically a 20 second cooldown timer and a 10% a 10-second uptime. This ring would only be good in nothing. In theory, all of these rings are situational, but we've went over it, so let's just go over it again. These two rings are best in slot for both tanks. Obviously, you guys can see them again. And then these two rings are best in slot for both DPS, ranged ring for any ranged melee, ranged melee, magician, etc. And then you have your melee for basically barbarians, fighters, rogues, any class of melee. And then you have your healing stuff, which obviously this is a really good healing ring, so this will be best in slot. And where's the other ring at? I'll tell you guys in a second. And this is good. So these two rings preferably are best in slot for both healers. It's all situational at the end of the day, but you choose what you want. Like I said, if you're in a longer fight, you want your forte up and you want your critical strike up, this would be your ring as a healer. If you got your outgoing healing up and you're fine, this would go in as a healer as well. So those are the rings. Yep. Thank you all for watching the video, and see you later. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and this has been Zez. Peace out.